Just keep playing the next play. Just play the next play and see what happens. And they continue to do that. We made plays on offense, defense, and special teams. And at the end of the deal, we were up. And that's all that matters. Dadgum, I knew if our offense had the ball with whatever, we had a chance.
And everybody knows somebody that knows somebody that knows something about it. And I won't answer.
And you are better
Now who he gonna get and what he gonna do? Run up on me if you want to.
This is Cody Hawkins here with the Coach Cody Crane Show, brought to you by Scott Hunt Custom Home. Well, Coach, we got back on the winning track last week, beat Farmersville 50-24 at one point, 50-8. Strange game, started slow, but man, when y'all started taking over, they just couldn't keep up with you.
Yes, felt like our kids played good. They run a good scheme. They run the quadruple option. They can hand it to the running back, the quarterback can keep it. They can throw the swing and block down on our strong safety or throw it deep. And it's a tough scheme. We knew that going in. And, they made a couple plays. But what is so cool about, what we do is we went from one defensive coverage to the next defensive coverage, and then they scored a touchdown, then to a third defensive coverage and shut it down. So, that just goes, our scheme, our program is starting to take hold, and the coverage that we ended up running, the backside coverage, really, we haven't ran it very much in a long time. So just that knowledge and understanding the program, very proud of our kids. We ran the ball good. We did it with some different people. Proud of all the credit to up front, our offensive linemen. It starts with them, and then we threw it and completed it at times as well.
Back it was weird seeing them line up in a wishbone a couple times. Me and Mark made a comment of that on the broadcast. Of course, they did run the option a lot. Had a lot of guys that could run the football, especially at the quarterback. Is it odd to see a team? We noticed they threw out the wishbone a lot. Did they do that on film, or was that a new rule?
Yeah, no, they did.
Okay.
They did. We knew it, it's a good scheme. And what it did is it forced some of our kids to do opposite things that they're used to.
Yeah.
So one kid, whenever he gets his key all year, has been coming up. Well, now he's got to go back.
Yeah.
And so just those little things. But it's a good scheme. They do a good job. I thought they schemed us well. Their very first play that they ran, they knew what coverage would be in, and they schemed us. And then the same thing with their first touchdown play. But then, we started making adjustments on the field, and Coach Brown and his defensive staff did a phenomenal job, and obviously Coach McDonald and our offense did as well.
Over on the defensive side as well, it kind of became, I know we were obviously a couple of men bigger roster than Farmersville is. Defensive line took over there late in the second quarter, man, between Hall had a great game, 64. I mean, he was on every play.
Right.
Guys like Devion Page, 3 turnovers, pick, fell on a couple balls. Kind of felt like that defense we got accustomed to earlier this year and last year, just kind of flying around like with their hair on fire.
And they did. They did, and that was fun to see. Having good front people is really good, and watching Rez get around, he played a heck of a game. Jacob obviously played a good game, and it's up to us as a coaching staff to really rotate those guys, keep them in and out, to keep them fresh in the fourth quarter, because all Jacob Hall knows is 100% full speed. He knows nothing else.
And he's doing it both sides of the ball.
And he's doing it both sides of the ball. And then, if Jacob ever comes out on offense, Rez goes in. And so then, Blutzel, Luna, Davis, they all get in, just rotating those big guys. And so dominating up front is really neat.
On the offensive side of the ball, Thomason, looked a little back to himself, 14-28, 259, great night throwing the ball, had a couple drops that would have been big plays. How do you feel like he shook off the past 2 games?
I think he did a good job.
Yeah.
I think he did a good job, obviously. Jason's a good kid. Jason's a competitor, and it was cool.
I like the play call in the first quarter with Linneman in the backfield. I'm not too sure that Farmersville thought y'all were going to throw out of that set.
Right.
And you blink, and he's in the end zone. That was a really cool play design.
Well, and we've been doing a little bit of that with him in the backfield. He's so quick, and has a burst. And so we have some other running backs that do a great job, and we rotate them in and out all night. But yes, he just kind of adds to it and adds a new wrinkle to what we do.
You know, you got weapons galore on the offensive side of the ball for you. You got three. Wassert got involved a little bit Friday night, but McDaniel seems to be a guy. Man, he's quick.
Right, absolutely. He is cat-like quick, and you know his whole family is. He has an older brother that is a college soccer player. He has a younger brother that the first time I ever saw him, he was jumping in a pool and did a gainer as like a third grader or something. That whole family is extremely athletic. I said, who in the world is that?
Yeah.
So. And then Brady makes some tough catches that I'm not sure you know many people do. They're tough, contested. He goes and gets it away from his body, and so I was very proud of Brady and Bentley last Friday night.
You know, another thing that we saw that I noticed in the booth, and this is a hats off to your receivers coach, Coach Kenny. The routes the guys were running were just crisp, perfect. It just seemed like every time the route was in the perfect spot at the perfect time. Was that an emphasis for
Absolutely, because whenever they go get in your face and play press man, you have to win routes. You have to make those DBs open their hips one way as you're cutting another way. You have to look, lean, and stick, and now go. And Coach Baxter's another receivers coach of ours. But yes, absolutely, those guys worked hard. As we looked last year, you know, we put up a ton of points last year, but we didn't feel like we ran those good crisp routes. So that was an emphasis early, and those guys did a great job of teaching it and coaching it. And our kids did a great job of executing it.
Now, you know, when it's 50-8, you got some guys in the game. I know you're trying to run the clock out. How do you keep these guys from scoring, especially these seniors and stuff like that? I know there's a couple times you had guys break in that you probably would have liked them to just stop in the middle of the field, run the clock out a little bit, and kind of.
Well, so we're trying to develop a program, and that is getting people reps, and we've got to see them on film. You know, the evaluation process for playing time started a long time ago. It started the day that last year's football season was over, and it's so many things. It is, you know, how we expect them to run to our field house during the fourth period. How do you run? Do you run with a purpose? How do you lift? Are you here on time? Are you dressed in the proper clothes? What does your locker look like? So many things go into the playing time process, and then we get to the season and we get reps in the scrimmages and two-a-days and things like that, and then you get to the game. And on, you know, building up to this point in our program, everybody, if you come out to play 7th grade football, if you're the best, if you're the worst, somewhere in between, you're going to play all the way up through JV. But whenever we get to the varsity, we're going to play the ones that we feel are the best. And so you may not get playing time. And so whenever we have an opportunity to get people in the game and get them another chance to get them evaluated, because we want it to be open competition. If one of them deserves more practice reps, well, let's see it on Friday night.
Well, this week, Community, big rivalry, not too far from here, like we talked a little bit off air. Big game for them guys over there. They played us tight 2 years in a row. Battle of Highway 6. Community lost to Sunnyvale the other night, 36-0. But how does Community look on film?
They're good. They're a good football team. So whenever we got here 2 years ago, they were extremely young, and they played us really good. Defensively, we played horrible. Offensively, we played great. And it was a shootout, high-scoring game, and really they had the ball the last possession. Coach McDonald understood a rule and did not allow them. They had a 10-second runoff when we won. So they had the ball with a chance to score, go for two, and tie. So it was a one-possession game. And then last year, we played really, really good defensively. Probably our best football game we played defensively last year. And then offensively, we kind of sputtered a little bit, and it was a one-possession game in the fourth quarter. So we know that they're going to bring their best, and we have got to execute offense, defense, and special teams. They're an explosive offense. All those young kids from 2 years ago are now juniors and seniors and ready to go. And so they are a good football team. This is Coach Bland's second year. And so he's getting his program a little bit more set, and we can tell that, you know, just the multiplicity that they have with their offense and defense. They do more this year. So it's going to be a huge test, and we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, they throw the ball around a little bit, mostly a run-heavy team a little bit. Does that, as being you talk about your defensive line, how do you adjust to a team that 9 times out of 10 they're going to try to run it right down your throat? Do you take some gambles on the corners, do more with the safeties?
Well, yes. I don't know if gambles is the right word, but we have got to align to win, and we've got to load the box. But whenever you do that, the number one thing that we've got to make sure our eyes are right, because they are a wing team football team, trap, sweep, bootleg, and if your eyes are wrong, they'll get you burnt. So we've been working on our eyes, and yes, just our personnel, just seeing it, just playing it, and coaching it. Here's another thing is everybody thinks, if you run a wing T offense or a run heavy offense, that's an advantage for them because we never see it. Well, in our schedule, that's what we see all the time. We see and rarely see a spread throwing attack. So we've seen it, and it'll just be up to us executing it.
Now, defensive line, I saw some film. They're big on the D line. Would probably be a night to would you put more pressure on your offensive line, especially guys like Hall. He's going to take probably some doubles quite a bit, and it looks like they like to really free that linebacker and go after the quarterback.
Right. That is something, we're going to have to, our pass sets, our run game, once again, they have a specific way. They're going to try to load the box with their ends, what we call putting them inside the tackles, to put 5 people inside our tackles, and we're going to have to go to work to root that out, to have some running game. We're going to have to go to work to make sure we slide correctly, whether it's right or left, to pick up the blitzing linebackers in our pass protection scheme. So yes, our offensive line has got to be on the same page, and we've worked extremely hard on that this week.
Man, it feels like forever since we've played Ed Locker.
I don't even remember what Ed Locker looks like.
Exactly. That's what I said during the broadcast. I feel like forever since we've been at home. Last question. This is just something I thought of the weekend. It came up in your game Friday night with a situation with Farmersville, OU and TCU game Saturday, and then the Cowboy game Sunday. Is there a chart that you or Coach Mack or somebody has that when you punt, when you go for it, when you go for 2? Because there was a time in the Farmersville game it was still pretty close. 3rd and 9 on y'all's end, they punt.
Right.
And I saw that happen. Dallas had a situation, the same thing. Is there a certain, I'm not going to sound like a fan here, is there a chart, or they always say
So yes, to go for 2, there is a chart.
Okay.
And it goes with the time, with the points, the point spread, to figure out if it is better or worse, or if it is to your advantage to go for 2.
Okay.
So we have that chart that we put on the back of our game plan.
Gotcha.
And so if we ever get to that spot early, if we fall behind like we did, they got a 2-point conversion, we're not chasing points early.
Okay.
But later in the game, there might be a point. Now, we will go for 2 if we think it's our advantage. It's not chasing points, but it's going. Later in the game, we might have to chase points. Punt is 100% feel. It's 100% coach's decision. And there's a lot of times I will be on the headset. It is 3rd and 8, and I'll tell him you got 2 to make 8. And so he knows that he doesn't have to make 8 with his first one. He can go get 4 and have a 4th down to go again. And that's just feel. That's personality. You talked about it. Here's the thing: is I hate to punt because there is no other play in football that's an automatic turnover. True. No other play is automatic turnover. So if we have a chance to make it, then we want to put the ball in our kids' hands and let them go. Mike Leach is one that hates to punt as well. There's a coach.
And there's a high school coach now that's at college that is doing the same thing.
Absolutely, he will not punt no matter what. He doesn't punt, and onside kicks ever kick. So,
Well, Coach, thanks, and let's go get the Braves Friday.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it. Thank you.